I wrote a letter to my future self when I was in 6th grade, and I told myself, nobody's youer than you. And so I finally got it back, and I was reading it with my parents, and it's like kind of funny just to see what I was saying to myself, my future self. And so at the bottom, it's no one was youer than you. And I kind of like ran with that this year. Like anytime I was going up to compete, like Liz would say, like, no one's youer than you. You got this. And like it is kind of like a reminder, like just do you. Go out there, be yourself, and just do your normal thing. I mean, you do so many numbers in the gym. Like you're just going out there and showing off what you've worked so hard for.
That is awesome. That is
Thank you.
so cool. I mean, obviously, I had no idea about
Yeah.
that.
Well, thank you.
What inspired that letter, or who told you to write it? Did you write it yourself, or was it
Yeah.
meant for your senior year, or what was it meant for?
Well, so it was my 6th grade teacher we were supposed to write a letter to our future self, and we were supposed to get it when we turned 18. Unfortunately, she passed away, and so we didn't get it until I was a senior in college, so 4 years later. And it was like, I was surprised it still even came, because I knew I wrote it. Like, I was waiting for that letter, and so I was so surprised when I actually got it. And it was kind of funny to hear like what I talked about. And then actually after receiving that letter, I was like, that was like really cool to see like all the goals that I accomplished and like thought I was gonna do. I did every single one of them. And so I wrote a letter to my future self in 10 years from now that I'm gonna read, and hopefully I'll accomplish all of those goals.
Are you comfortable sharing a few of the things that you told yourself in the past, not for the future, but
Yeah.
like as a 6th grader?
Yeah. So I said I wanted to do gymnastics on TV, and I did that. I kind of said, I was kind of funny with it. I was like, okay, if you're not still friends with Kylie, get up and become, like, call her right now. So, like, one of my best friends from when I was young, I'm still friends with her. And I said I wanted to be, like, very neat and organized, because I was always, like, very clean and organized, and, like, I wanted to like continue that on. And so I still do that. I wanted to be more on time for things, and I'm very on time for things now. But yeah, and I just wanted to do gymnastics and like go to a really cool college. That's what I said, a really cool one. And I didn't know which one at the time, because that was around the time I was starting to get letters from colleges and stuff. And so I did that, and I can't remember like a lot of the other stuff, but it was just kind of funny to hear myself like yell at myself, my future self, in the letters, like, if you're not still doing this, you better do it. Like, I didn't want to quit gymnastics, and like I didn't do that. So I there was just a lot of things that I was like really proud to see my past self, you know.
Yeah. So as a 6th grader, you wrote a letter to yourself as what ended up being a senior in college.
Yeah.
As a senior in college, 21-year-old senior in college, as a 21 senior in college, you wrote a letter to your future self a decade from now.
Yes.
If you were able to write a letter to your 6th grade self, what would it say?
Oh, it would just say like how proud I am of her, and everything that I've accomplished. And I just didn't even imagine that for myself, you know? Like, I couldn't even imagine how great it was going to be to be on a team like I was, and like at a school that I'm at. Like, I didn't really know I wanted to go to college. It was kind of just like the next thing that you do. And like, I mean, it's been like the best experience. I wouldn't trade it for anything. And so I'm just proud of myself and proud of how hard I worked throughout all the years to get here.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's amazing that you're doing that and continuing that practice of doing it yourself. Now, I'm sorry about your teacher, but even though you guys managed to find that letter, or you managed to find that letter, I'm assuming the other students did as well.
Yeah.
What inspired you to write a letter to your future self again?
I just thought it was such a cool idea, and I like, if I'm a coach one day, which I want to be, I kind of want to like have my gymnast or whoever like write letters to their future self, because I just thought it was like such a cool idea. I didn't know how much it was gonna mean until I got it, you know, like when I'm in 6th grade, I'm just writing what I'm supposed to write, but I didn't know how much it was gonna mean until I got it. And so I was like, I want to do this again, because I want to see, like, I mean, these are my goals right now, and I want to see if I'm going to accomplish them later on, and like without even thinking about the letter. Like, you know, I don't even remember what I wrote in my letter to my future self right now. And so like, it's kind of like, I wonder if I'll be like on the same track as I thought I was going to be, you know?
Yeah. Who kept that letter, or what did you do with that?
So it's like in an envelope in my closet at home. I have to re-go through all my stuff at home for when I move back, and I'll put it in a safe space. I told my parents, I'm like, you guys got to keep track of this for me. But yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, there's so many different ways to document what you're feeling and going through and thinking. I think a a lot of people use like the Notes app or even something like Snapchat Memories is very useful for that. For me, to a certain extent, like I can see very different versions of myself and what I'm thinking and what I'm going through through the podcast at this point. Like when I look back and I listen back and I'm like, wow, I'm not that person. I'm not that same Fernando as I used to be. And it's continuing to happen to me as it's been like a while now and through videos. But I think however it is, whether it's notes, whether it's something like Snapchat, a daily vlog, or a podcast, or even just a handwritten letter to yourself, I think it's beautiful to be able to reconnect that way. And I love that, like, nobody is youer than you is very inspiring.
Well, thank you. And you must be proud of yourself with how far you've come with Denting. Like, I mean, you've come such a long way. And, like, even as much, like, last year, I was just getting to know you. And, like, now, like, we've gotten to know each other so much. And, like, you're on Cal Sports. Like, you've done so much. You've got to be proud of yourself.
I mean, definitely something that I'm proud of. Like I was telling you right before I clicked record right now.
Yeah.
I think there's still a lot I can improve, and I'm not going to be too harsh on myself because I was doing a lot of other things at the same time.
Yeah.
But definitely looking forward to fully focusing on it and just seeing what can come from that because, I mean, as you know, with any sport, when you're distracted by other things and you can't get your reps in and you're taking days off and things like that, it's just not going to fully work. But yeah, I guess so. If a year ago when we recorded, you told me, oh, all these things are going to happen, I would have been extremely excited.
Yeah.
Something I shared with Elise a few weeks ago, actually, one of my practices is whenever I'm going through a lot of things at the same time and my mind is all over the place and I'm overwhelmed and anxious and just like not feeling great, I look back at this list that I have in my notes. And what I do is for every calendar year, I write down the month and everything I've accomplished and my goals for that month.
Yeah.
And whenever I'm feeling down or not feeling myself, I look back at that as reassurance, like, hey, you did it before and you were going through the same things. You'll be able to do it again. So I think that is definitely something I'm proud of and feel better.
Yeah, I really like that idea. That's awesome. Yeah.
It's honestly very neat and it helps me a lot. It helps me realize how much I'm moving forward because if you look at that poster over there, that's like every single day and that is very micro. But when I look at the macro in my notes, it is very helpful to see myself moving forward in the long run.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you can relate to the fact that we always want more and we're always pushing for more.
Definitely. It just comes with our sports and just being out of school like this. It just comes along with it, I feel like.